moving some of the big stones, and we didn't understand why that upset you so much. It was the Vicksburg battlefield, and it just, they had to give up on their picnic and take me home. I was like having some episode or something. So that's something that's similar, in remembrance. And then when I went to Gettysburg as a truck driver. So what I'm looking for is what is that? I call it spirit, I guess. I can't find any other name for the connection to it. It's like if you talk neurologically, they'll tell you that we have electrical, like beta, alpha, theta, delta, gamma, sigma, tau, the 7 levels of humanity, or the 7 vibrations. And, we have, what is it? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's 8. We use those in music. So do you have any people that in your Fortean area of expertise that study that spirit and energy that, I don't know what you'd call it, but it's like you can see it and feel it, but maybe you can't really touch it, but some people get hits, and that's what I got on you. So yeah. I don't know. Can we give that a new name? Can you give a name, or you already have one?
I was a trained remote viewer.
A what?
A trained remote viewer.
A remote viewer.
I was trained by a person who worked for MI5 in her public career until she retired. She took me under her wing.
MI5. Are you speaking intelligence community of the UK, like MI6?
Yes. And she taught me spontaneous remote viewing or controlled remote viewing. And, I actually did a year of training. We actually did it over Skype over a year. And we got involved with working cases primarily in the UK of hauntings, haunting cases, all kinds of different types of hauntings and attachment cases. And it was fairly successful. She would go, her and her group would go on site, and I would be connected with them on the computer through Skype, and I would do a remote view as they were working the case. And we were fairly successful for a while. I mean, we did it for about 4 or 5 years. And, life happens and you got to do other things. But it's I do use it occasionally for cases. I worked with a group in Australia for a while who has helped me with my personal cases, who have done remote views to help me with more information on other cases that I've been involved with. As well, I'm also, I've got several clients who I've helped over the years who have had hauntings in their home, and I've done remote sessions to try to alleviate the hauntings and the attachments in their location. And, I've been involved with that now for, I guess, about 10 years.
Wow. Okay. Well, I didn't know remote viewing was out there and all these groups. I feel like I've been on another planet, to be honest with you, but all I did was I had deep investigation, deep problems at the government level, and then was assigned a case, and then I had to work on it roughly 20, 30 years. But anyway, it's coming to a different level. You've worked on cases like tier 1, 2, 3, or been like a legal investigator or a private investigator. Have you done investigations? Are you saying remote viewing, like paid informant or paid investigator or researcher?
No, this has always been private. This has always been between me and the client.
Okay.
I have never pressured anybody to pay me for any of my services. This has mostly been all voluntary.
Yeah.
But I have helped a lot of people, and in fact, I've helped some people who are very well known. So it's kind of been a private thing.
Nice.
I don't talk a whole lot about it, but it's It's just part of what I do.
Nice. Well, I guess I can keep my ACIR radio going with people like you then, because originally it was Assured Confidential Investigative Reports. And you can understand then, I guess, at my spiritual level, that there's some people that want assistance from people that have had out-of-body near death or actually feel like they died or had seen the other side, but we don't really know how to address it. We always get laced in with, I see dead people, our spirits, or the spiritual world with Houdini and, I don't know, War of the Worlds kind of things, if you know what I mean. So I'm not sure what it's called, but in science, they pretty much refer to it as phenomenology. And I used to be told I had ESP, growing up, but what is that called now if it's not extrasensory perception? Do you know?
Well, they still call it extrasensory perception, but it's kind of broken up into a lot of different parts now. Some are clairvoyant, some are clairsentient, some are able to do specific things. I consider myself more of a intuitive. When I sense spirit energy, but how I sense it is in my mind's eye, I see certain colors, and that's how I interpret what I'm in the presence of. And over the years, I've been able to determine what colors associate to what types of energy. And using that as a primer when I start to do the investigation and using remote viewing techniques, I'm usually able to pinpoint on what's going on. And on occasion, I have done clearings that way as well.
Okay, now I've done clearings that my daughter did because I grew up being curious in whatever this was, and I was very curious about Houdini. And I read a lot of books, but I was looking for probably the same thing Houdini was. I guess it's the other side, or how are people, you've experienced something in life, and I had, or people, if you want to say, or people that have, like I thought I was drowning and they pulled me up out of the water, or with extraterrestrials. So I'm always looking for like angels, extraterrestrials, spirits, or beings, those type of energies, because so many people call them different things. So in a way, you've sort of been on the same path, haven't you? I don't know. Maybe Gettysburg got you started looking for those beings, or help me out.
I don't know. I mean, I think the situation with Gettysburg kind of helped me define a bit more of what I was able to do. I still spend a lot of time on the battlefield. I moved back up here again, so I live near Gettysburg currently again, and I do spend a lot of time there. There's a lot of different things that you do pick up on. It's interesting being out there when other people are there and experiencing what they see or how they react. But because there's so much trapped energy in that one specific area, it is kind of like it's almost like a laboratory for paranormal activity. And I've always been attracted to these locations where there's been a lot of death or a lot of strife, and battlefields are particularly ripe with that. I've also done work at Antietam as well. So, I mean, it's kind of like I said before, it's like a lab, and you kind of go there and pick up on a lot of different things. But I will say, I think being on the battlefield has kind of helped me define what abilities I do have and how I can use them.
So we could safely say that people like you and me, I'm really looking, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm really looking for how you and I came together, and if we're always looking for, who are we, why are we here, and where will we go when we leave the planet, so to speak. Have you heard that, right? The main question is, I think somebody said the biggest question you'll ever ask yourself is where you go when you leave here. But I don't know. I guess it's some people that are faith, they have faith or they're believers in spirit, and then there's others that scientifically have to prove it with sight, but our peer review or where something you can experiment and do it over and over again. And it's really a philosophy, but we call it a science because we think if we can do it, then it must be real, right? Or if somebody else can do it and repeat the situation. And all that, I understand, came from philosophy way back in Roman times or whatever, all the way back to Aristotle and all that. But, I'm looking for that common thread. And then everyone thinks that they have their own truth. But I'm learning that memories and perceptions aren't necessarily the same thing. So I would like to build a wiki with you, if you don't mind, or one that we could use among people learning how we're developing the skills and how we brought all our libraries together. And like you said, the defining, well, you can say remote viewing, and maybe that breaks down. Being a psychic, a clairvoyant, sentient, audient. I forgot all. We used to use clairaudient, clairvoyant. I've forgotten all of them. I've written them a million times. Clairsentient, but anyway, basically you can feel it with your hairs, your primordial instincts. So go up on the back of your neck or on your arms. What do y'all call that with your group, or how you've been educated?
Well, my current group is not necessarily into that part of what we do. We're mostly into cryptid investigations and other strange phenomena, unexplained phenomena. But what you're talking about, I believe, is perception and how each person interprets perception. Each person has their own perception. I have talked to a lot of people over the years who perceive energy, perceive spirits. It's all energy, but they all perceive it in a different way. Like I said earlier, I perceive in colors. My mind's eye is very, very open all the time. I see. I'm able to see remotely. I can see places remotely. When I work with clients, when I'm talking to them, either on Skype or on the telephone, I can usually perceive where they are, what they're doing, what they're thinking, their feelings and such. And that's just something I've been able to do. And, that's my own personal perception. But, I guess, everybody has their own.
All right. Well, did you write a book on intuitive perception at all yet, or manifesting, or?
No, my friend Brett has been trying to talk me into doing a book about mysticism. She calls me a mystic. I don't know if I don't know if I am one, but no, I've only written about cryptids, and my last book was about alien disclosure and abduction phenomena.
Well, I work with mystics, oracles, psychics, sages, seers, and I've been called a mage, but it's because of the stuff I study. But being an investigator, that is a paying bona fide job, right? I made $5,000 per case and $55 an hour back in the 80s, before the government snapped me up. But I was out of country being paid. But the people that used me could afford it. They had money. Mm-hmm. So, the people, at least here where I grew up in the South, we all sort of thought it was normal to see spirits or to feel ghosts. And the when you go to where they bury dead people, what are those called?
Well, cemetery?
Yeah, cemetery. But when you're grown up and you're told we treated cemeteries with respect, and we didn't. We knew where the headstone was, and that it was always at the head, not the foot. So Is that what you were raised? I mean, in Pennsylvania, right? That's
Well,
where you grew up. You grew up in Pennsylvania?
I grew up in Pennsylvania.